Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Monday, May 30th, 2016. Yes, a lot of stuff's been happening, of course. First of all, we do have to pay homage to the fallen ones of all the wars that the United States of America was involved with on Memorial Day. But always remember who benefits from this. This is really essential. And I've been informed, too, stuff is going to be happening. Troops may be being deployed in the Persian Gulf. Can we say long live the empire, allegedly speaking? But you have to always look at the fine lines on that. Furthermore, I did attend the 9/11 Architects and Engineers 9/11 Truth event with Richard Gage down at the Villain Theater in Miami. It was a really very good presentation. They had a video on there as well, which is pertaining to the firefighters, which is Eric Lawyer. Yeah, his name Eric Lawyer. Yeah, who was a firefighter that started Firefighters for 9/11 Truth as well, and Unity. Real good presentation. The video on that, and you can go on ae.911.org to purchase the video. You'll not check it on YouTube. I don't really have it on me, but definitely take the initiative on checking it out. You won't be disappointed. And one thing about for sure is that what Rich Gage really does is present a scientific perspective that jet fuel cannot bring buildings 1, 2, 7, and the hole in building 6 as well. Okay, didn't bring those buildings down. So a lot of good memorable information and some stuff. People ask some real good questions, and I give a shout out to Erickson Harrell, who was the member of the North Miami Beach Police Department that attended as well. It was great to see him. Of course, he was the one who wore the Guy Fawkes mask during a nice little protest at Plantation. He got harassed by the police officers, and he got a administrative leave, but has been exonerated. It's happened a couple years ago, so definitely big shout out to him, and thanks for having him come in. That's awesome. So I'm gonna go a little bit short today. I'm not gonna go too ape on a lot of these areas. So let's just start off right now with the big controversy that's happening in the Libertarian Party. Plus, that party is getting really popular and huge. And now what has happened is Gary Johnson recently got nominated, which it occurred in Orlando, Florida. And his running mate is William Weld, who was a former Massachusetts governor. And this came from the LibertyConservative.com, because William Weld signed letters supporting PATRIOT Act. As it reads here, the nomination of former Massachusetts Governor William Weld as the Libertarian Party's vice presidential nominee is not one which was met without controversy. Activists booed Weld throughout the convention, and there even had to be a second ballot to ultimately confirm him as vice president. This was due to Weld's position on spending, gun control, war, and the EPA, and a host of other issues. That being said, this author has discovered something which was not brought up during the fight over Weld's nomination, and it is absolutely damning position for anybody who claims to care about the Fourth Amendment. In the 2005, a debate over the renewal of the Patriot Act waged in the Senate. Notorious neocon Frank Gaffney of the Center of Security Policy authored a letter urging the renewal of the law, which was signed by over 50 members of the national security establishment. This included men such as John Ashcroft, John Gaffney, James Woosley, and newly crowned Libertarian vice presidential nominee William Weld. The letter specifically cited the expiration of the wiretapping capability proved under the Patriot Act, as well as the access to the data provided by Section 215 of the law, among many others, as reasons the Senate should renew the law. The group of high-profile political figures, according to the letter, called on the Congress not allow the expiration of key parts of this vital tool in our national effort to prevent further terrorist attacks against the United States. The Libertarian Party, as well as Johnson Weld campaign, must offer an explanation for this. The Patriot Act was perhaps the most explicitly un-libertarian law passed after 9/11, and Weld's support of it as well as his willingness to associate with characters like Frank Gaffney, should cause liberty activists across the country. No doubt, his sincerity in advocating for a non-interventionist foreign policy and civil liberties, the fact that the letter specifically cited provision under we now know the NSA justifies their bulk collection of every American's phone records bring up even larger questions about Weld's commitment to the Fourth Amendment. A call to the Libertarian Party Public Relations Office for comment was not immediately returned. And it is very intriguing because I have some people who are fellow liberty-minded folks posted this on Facebook that they had this piece of garbage, Uncle Tom Bend Over Bob, named William Weld, supports this treasonous crap. And he's in this Libertarian Party. This is called pure blasphemy. And I'm sorry that Gary Johnson's got a... I think Gary Johnson just give him a good foot up his butt, as far as I'm concerned, if he's a real freedom-loving, sovereign-thinking individual. I am very disappointed and disgusted about parties like this in general, which are getting real active and getting and people really are focusing on true freedom and liberty. They get shafted, infiltrated, corroded. This is just another example, my friends, about parties, political parties, institutions, churches, etc. You're always going to expect infiltrators, plants, and the corrupt try to contaminate the cause. It's a real damn shame that William Weld is going to be running on a libertarian ticket. It's like having Michael Moore saying, I'm pro self-defense, but you can't own a firearm. Okay, the same category. A damn hypocritical SOB piece of garbage William Weld is. And all you neocon supporters, all you people that support Weld, prove me wrong. I dare you. Because I know a lot of people out there that I get my input from has merit. And I chat with these people face to face in person. We went to rallies together. We don't like this piece of crap, garbage, neocon, nefarious propaganda, trying to manipulate and con people. You can't do it anymore. They cannot do it. This is why I said respectfully I did support John McAfee. Okay, because at least the man had a lot of rough edges, but he stood for principles. This is why, even back then, I supported Ron Paul in 2008 and 2012 for the same reason. Doesn't mean they're my lords and saviors. But the cause, what we have in common, is vital. See some of my comrades out there from different political views understand my viewpoints, and we have honorable discussions. Yes, I have my differences with some of these folks, but we have a lot in common too, and you know what? And that's how we respect each other. We want things better, not worse. But they're playing this little game of, they're just going to vote because of the name. We'll just see how stupid they are. 2016 election is going to be one damn joke overall. And they're all running around naked, wearing no clothes, including not having a leaf between their legs. This is how sick, demented these demoniacs are. And we're going to go further here on this. About the 6 reasons Libertarian Party delegates are wary of William Weld. This came out on The Reason. This is by Matt Welch. How have I say that? Actually, today this was written by the Liberty Conservative. Excuse me, I'll just go back for a moment. Rocco Lucente. And I thank you for that good article. So Matt Welch did this 2 days ago. About 6 reasons Libertarian Party delegates are wary of William Weld. And it says here, Matt Welch, if as seem as plausible as not, the Libertarian Party today decides to nominate Gary Johnson as its president while rejecting Johnson's hand-picked selection of former Massachusetts Governor William Weld as a vice presidential running mate. The sneering headlines will write themselves. Party boo driver's licenses. Rejects Veep for being too normal, or maybe MegaCon or LP. Which convention has the most costume freaks? The Libertarian National Convention has been largely a celebratory affair as delegates, alternates, and longtime activists coming out of the woodwork bask in the exceptionally increased media attention and salivate as the prospects of being the third-party beneficiary of America's two-party nervous breakdown. The number one question delegates ask me, unprompted, is some variation on, isn't this great? But that doesn't mean there aren't tensions in an age-old divides that are being exposed as exacerbated along the way. The party of the anti-state anarchists and proudly marginal weirdos has to grapple with nominating the Norm Corps ticket of the 1990s Republican governors in an election year that elsewhere has been electrified by the wild-eyed Bernie Sanders and the more shattering Donald Trump. Through the betting money is still solidly on the Gary Johnson repeating as a presidential nominee. The loudest conversation all convention long has been whether these fundamental tensions will see their biggest expressions in today's subsequent vote on William Weld. Well-perceived lack of libertarian bona fides has drawn audible booings here, produced several moments of dissonance at Friday night's vice presidential debate, and generated such headlines as Politico's Libertarian Dream Ticket in peril as Weld bombs in Orlando. Johnson, who I interviewed and hung around with Friday, is responding to this reaction with a mixture of incredulity, humility, fatalism, and defiance. I will not be elected president of the United States if Bill Weld is not my vice presidential pick, he told Brian Daugherty. It's not going to happen. It's just that simple. Will, who is maintaining a sense of equanimity about it all, told me in an interview yesterday that he'll do what he can help the Libertarian ticket and party for the rest of his active life, no matter what happens today. Meanwhile, gossips are sketching out various Plan B and C scenarios involving either VP candidate Larry Sharpe, who was impressive at Friday's debate, or Austin Peterson, should he lose a presidential vote, and should be there emerge a subsequent groundswell of support for changing the rules so he could throw his hat in the ring, which party long-timers says a fairly routine matter. The reason has covered many controversies over Weld's candidacy start backward from this search, but as the sort of snapshot of where the Libertarian Party is at in May 2016, here are 6 most common complaints I've heard about him at the convention, listed in no particular order. 1. He showed up 10 days ago after 10 years of being alienated from the Libertarian Party. Even 2008 nominee Bob Barr, who will retreat back to the GOP less than 4 years after his run, came over to do some spade work with the LP 18 months before running for president, points out longtime Georgia Libertarian activist Doug Craig. Springing the Weld announcement just prior to the convention rubbed at a lot of people who hear the wrong way, including privately several members of party leadership. His performance at the vice presidential debate suggested someone not particularly fluent with the arcana of LP philosophical debates. The Libertarian debate during its 45 years has been more or less continuously riven by a fundamental divide between idealists and pragmatists, between people focused on making sure the messenger is bringing the right messages and those focused more on maximizing the wildest possible audience. The fact that Weld's suggestion nomination brought forth a possibility unprecedented level of media attention and respect to the LPs reinforced the view of both camps. Hooray for more free and positive media. Fie on the status preferences of journalists, those who have sweated over the years and decades to make this plucky little collection of political oddballs the third biggest party in the United States feel some completely understandable human emotions of underappreciation when faced in recent coverts who want to step off the boat into leadership positions, and they also smell an unprecedented electoral opportunity. Conflict. 2. Weld is yet another former Republican at the time when the juice with the party doesn't have much of a Republican flavor. Not only was not 2008 nominee Bob Barr a former Republican congressman, his running mate, Las Vegas hustler Wayne Allen Root, has written books 3 years previously titled Millionaire Republican. Root, like Barr, would lead the LP in 2012, become the first Tea Party champion, and eventually evangelist for Donald Trump. There is a palpable wariness at becoming a station of the lower tier Republicans trying to opportunistically worm their way into a coveted ballot slot. Favorite VP alternative Larry Sharpe even claimed to me in an interview that the section of the two mainstreamist former Republican governors could set the party back 10 years because it would alienate the decidedly non-Republican activist base who would have to be painstakingly wooed back. The party as it exists now is experiencing a historical surge. Yes, some of this is directly attributable to the American public waking up after the Indiana primary and realizing that we've got 6 agonizing months ahead of us, Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. But as LNC Chairman Nicholas Sarrock told me, libertarians over the last 2 years have been the only political party to see its membership rolls increase. There are new candidates, young candidates, competent candidates, and activists who are making real inroads in the states like Washington, the real change in states like New Hampshire, and spurring giddy talk to the most promising third-party moment since 1860. Whose are these characters injecting powerful energy into Orlando and elsewhere? There are Ron Paul kids from 2007 to 2008 who were never that Republican to begin with, or people who were exposed early on the ideas as a practitioners, including reason, as I keep hearing. The youngish lawyers or entrepreneurs or free state freakers or motivational speakers or campus activists or dozens of other flavors of humans who find the word libertarian, capitalized or not, a natural fit requiring neither hyperhenation nor tortured explanation or alleged deviation from the norm. At Friday's vice presidential debate, Sharp is an energetic black management consultant from New York, scored heavenly in his closing statements by saying that he is not against his former Republican brothers and sisters being a Libertarian Party. It's just that they need to realize they're only part of the party, not its permanent managerial class. Sharp made a similar crack about old white guys prompting a growly Gary Johnson Saturday to kick off his nominating speech with the line, I want you all to know that I'm not an old white guy. I am not a Republican light. I'm a libertarian, and I'm proud of it. 3. Weld supports U.S. membership in the United Nations. That's potential deal breaker, said one delegate who supports Weld's candidacy. To give you an idea about the temperature of the LB grassroots on such issues, 3 of 5 leading candidates who participated in the presidential debate Saturday night unequivocally advocated withdrawing from the United States from the UN, the International Monetary Fund, and NATO. 4th candidate, wiseacre Mark Allen Friedman, joked around the answer. Only Gary Johnson dodged the question with a rambly answer about getting the Chinese to help bring the dangerous North Koreans to the diplomatic table. Ha 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 ha. 4. He defended his prior support for gun restrictions and parts by calling himself lifelong hunter. What's wrong with that, you say? Code words say the gun rights people here. When politicians emphasize hunting over self-defense, is a sign that he disrespects the fundamental purpose of firearm ownership. So, other words, Weld is nothing more than a treasonous quack or a bend-over Bob to the state. 5. He screwed over the Libertarian Party in New York 10 years ago. It's a complicated story given the Empire State's unusual multi-party politics, but Weld was going to be great Libertarian hope in the 2006 gubernatorial race, but then backed out of the party's nomination when he did not also concurrently win the Republican Party nomination. People in the New York delegation here remember this incident like it was yesterday, and he had vowed revenge. In his interview with me, Weld chalked up the conflict to a series of cascadingly negative political events that overwhelmed him. 6. He supported John Kasich for president as recently as 2016, while LP activists who bring this up have been irated mostly by the Ohio governor's role in blunting Libertarian Party ballot access. Certain non-LP Libertarian journalists whose names rhyme with Fat Belch also point out that liberal media's favorite GOP candidate this cycle has an easily discoverable campaign record as an interventionist nightmare on foreign policy. Weld told me that Kasich endorsement was merely based on a former congressman's role in balancing the federal budget way back when. Despite these 6 reasons and plenty of grumbling besides, there is still a strong chance that William Weld may yet win the nomination. How is it possible? Delegates here have given me two reasons over and over again. One, that's who Gary Johnson wants. If the presidential nominee says campaign without Will is like running a marathon on one leg, then by gum, we should listen to the guy. Maybe he knows a thing or two about the realities of campaigning that the average ANCAP undervalues. Two, the outside world use Weld rejection as evidence that libertarians can't even score on a free kick because they're too busy being crazy libertarians. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had here in which delegates have asked me anxiously about how the political media world outside the convention building would treat a Weld rebuke. Will they think we're just crazy, they ask? I reply that it will be very difficult for non-libertarian journalists to understand, hence this long blog post. Well. Now we know that he has been nominated as the running mate for the Libertarian Party, and I will say this: the man supports the UN. He supports compromising the Bill of Rights. So this guy here is nothing more than a tyrannical Uncle Tom. Hi, I'm William Weld. I'm the Uncle Tom for the One World Order, and I am very proud of it. I will spread my legs and go and spread my butt cheeks and have my respect, or go on my knees and do it to him. I'm not saying this on figure of speech, symbolically speaking. This is why these parties are being contaminated, and what's going to happen is folks are going to be maybe leaving the party on this, maybe a possible exodus or reconstruction. But George Washington said in his farewell address, political parties are dangerous for a new nation, including, foreign influence and so forth. But this man here, nothing more than a stooge. And I'm sorry to say about that, Gary Johnson. If you don't like what I said, I don't give a damn. I'm saying this out of respect. You want someone that's a government dependent. Libertarianism is the opposite. That's why they ask me if I should join the Libertarian Party, and I go, look, I have liberty-minded views. However, I don't need to be a registered voter to prove that. It is very disappointing, my friends, but people are waking up. It's going to backfire. I guarantee you that. It's going to blow back in their faces. And you know what? That's okay by me, because one day all these parties are going to crumble, and all they can do is look at themselves in the mirror. Democrats and Republicans right now are on the same boat. And you know what? That suits me fine. So enough of that. That's my little rant. All right. 2 here from Blacklisted News. Actually, originally came from RT. It says here, Israeli police recommended indicting Benjamin Netanyahu's wife over misuse of public funds. Police have reportedly recommended filing charges against Sarah Netanyahu, wife of Israeli Prime Minister's alleged misuse of public funds. Potential charges are allegedly based on 3 separate counts, including the ordering of food and private chefs for family events, the employment of a career for Netanyahu's father, and affairs surrounding the Prime Minister's residence, according to Harris. Pretty rebellious Israeli newspaper at times, so I give him that. On the latter charge, Azra Sadoff, Deputy Director General of the Premier's Office, and electrician Avi Fahima, a former Likud Central Committee member, also looks set to be indicted. A statement from the Israeli police said the investigation had been concluded. The case began in February 2015 with the approval of the Attorney General and the state prosecutor, and focused on a number of issues in connection to which suspicion of the commission of criminal offenses arose, including fraudulent receipts, fraud, and breach of trust, including addressing and mutual accusations, it read. As a conclusion, all of the purported evidence, finding, and insight gathered in the police investigation were provided to the Jerusalem district prosecutor, which was involved in the investigation, for its interviews and decision. Sarah Netanyahu was previously questioned by police for 5 hours at the end of 2015 regarding accusations of irregularities in the running of her family household in Jerusalem and Caesarea. Though she cooperated with authorities, she denied using taxpayers' money for personal expenses and provided investigators with receipts and pay stubs to uphold her claim. Investigators accuse her of squandering money to purchase expensive lawn furniture and carry out maintenance work in the Netanyahu private villa. She also reportedly used public money for buying alcohol and makeup. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the reports in a statement on his Facebook page. In a police statement, there was no recommendation to bring Mrs. Netanyahu to trial, he said. In contrast to the report, Mrs. Netanyahu did not commit any crime. Okay, so we say allegedly. The PM was also criticized in 2013 after it was revealed that he had a budget of it's 2,300 shekels, like it's called, shekels, which is U.S. dollars 2,560 specific dollars, specifically for his love of ice cream, affording his family 14 kilograms of vanilla and pistachio-flavored goodness every month. The recent investigation is based on the findings of a report issued in February 2015 by the state comptroller, which allegedly found that Mrs. Netanyahu had used funds for her private expenses. Sarah Netanyahu continues to deny any wrongdoing. Well, we have to look at everything here. I will say allegedly in good faith, and I am not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu on a lot of his actions. Yes, I am a critic of this man. But we have to look at everything thoroughly. They have to have merit. And we have to find out how long will this, let's see if it will follow through. If I'm correct, they do have that instant till proven guilty. They've been having that for a long time. That's what's one interesting about this case. I know everyone said to go after war crime to Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, they may have something on his wife for misuse of funds, and it could even hurt Benjamin Netanyahu's credibility as well. Try to tell people what to do, and you have someone in your household misusing public funds. And this is allegedly, okay? Let's go see how far this goes. But something like this, I know the mainstream news don't want to put on it because, oh, we love Israel. We love Benjamin Netanyahu. He's such a great man. Ha, 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 ha. Remember, corruption happens everywhere, not just the United States of America. So we just really gotta look into this. So I'm about to keep on keeping tabs on Harrods and see what they have to say about it. So we'll just have to carry on, I would say. But one thing I like it. But in good faith, I'm not going to say anything until they prove their case, the prosecutors themselves. All right. Finally, came out today. It's really interesting by Alexandra Sims. It says here, disfiguring tropical disease is sweeping across the Middle East. A disfiguring tropical disease is sweeping across the Middle East as a combination of heavy conflict and the breakdown of healthcare facilities and ISIS-occupied areas leaves swaths of people vulnerable to the illness. Cutaneous leishmaniasis is caused by a parasite in the bloodstream transmitted through the sandfly bites. The disease can result in horrible open sores as well as disfiguring skin lesions, nodules, or papules. Leishmaniasis is a endemic in Syria for centuries and was once commonly known as the Apollo evil. However, as Syria's civil war continues, the resulting refugee crisis has triggered a catastrophic outbreak of the disease. Children suffering from cutaneous leishmaniasis, a disfiguring of the disabling skin disease. Research published on Thursday, the scientific journal PLOS, or PLOS, has found the disease is now affecting hundreds of thousands of people living in refugee camps or trapped in conflict zones. A similar situation may be unfolding in eastern Libya and Yemen. We're seeing lots of diseases, including leishmaniasis, in these conflict zones. We need to ring-fence them or risk another situation like Ebola out of the conflict zones in West Africa in 2014. Peter Hottis, Dean of the U.S. National School of Tropical Medicine, U.S. Science Envoy to the Middle East, and lead author of the PLOS research, told the Digital Journal. A woman received treatment for tropical skin disease. Ooh, okay, that's a photo. Sorry about that. Syria's healthcare system has been devastated by years of conflict. In 2015, it was reported that more than half of the public hospitals in the country previously a regional leader in healthcare, were closed or only partially functioning, leaving some patients forced to travel up to 100 miles to the nearest hospital. In Syria, the number of leishmaniasis cases reported to the Ministry of Health doubled from 23,000 before the start of the civil war in 2011 to 41,000 in 2013, according to the PLOS research. Neighboring countries, which have received millions of refugees, are also reporting many leishmaniasis cases. In Lebanon, cases rose in 1,000 in 2013 from 6 in the previous 12 years. Hundreds of cases also have been reported in Turkey and Jordan. Turkey's 2 million Syrian refugees. According to scientists, eastern Libya has also reported increasing number of leishmaniasis. In Yemen, an estimated 10,000 new cases are reported every year. Yet Yemenis migrate to Saudi Arabia. Concerns have been raised the disease spread further. Dr. Walid Al-Siam of the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine told Mail Online, "It's a very bad situation. The disease has spread dramatically in Syria, but in also countries like Iraq, Lebanon, Turkey, and even into southern Europe with refugees coming in. There are 2,000 cases in the region, but it's still underestimated because no one can count the exact number of people affected. When people are bitten by sandflies, which are tiny and smaller than a mosquito, it can take anything to 2 to 6 months to have the infection." And of course here, it says here, UN seeks aid access as civilians risk starvation. Someone might have picked up in Syria, but they may have fled into Lebanon or Turkey or even into Europe as they seek refuge. Prior to the outbreak war, there was a good control of diseases, parasites, and sandflies, but when the conflict started, no one cared. Conditions worsened and the health system broke down, which has created an ideal environment for disease outbreaks. Cutaneous leishmaniasis, hopefully I pronounced that right, is one of the 17 tropical diseases categorized by WHO, or World Health Organization, as neglected. The organization says greater awareness of this disease, better monitoring, training for clinicians, and vector control could get some way to halting the epidemic, and you can get plenty of information on this and many more others. I gotta say this: we gotta stop these damn conflicts, as far as I'm concerned, because this is what's been happening when you bombing countries. Because, like Syria, for example, they don't want us. They don't want to have the pipeline go through the country. You know what? No, start attacking them. This is totally irrelevant and unacceptable. This is why they're spreading around like fire, and innocent people around Europe and others trying to force these people in. Stop the damn wars. That's all I have to say. It's totally unacceptable. And you know what? And good people are suffering from this, and they can spread in areas around Europe and beyond. Hope and pray for these individuals. A lot of beautiful people in that region, the Middle East, Syria, and all that. They should not be treated as war zones. And I'm sick of tired of the military-industrial complex telling us what's right and what's wrong. This is why I always say, let's return as a republic, which got diminished a long time ago, and end this empire once and for all. And you got to tell everyone you got to say death to the New World Order, because they are responsible for this, as far as I'm concerned. That's just my own personal viewpoint. That's all I have to say. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the show. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, compliments, criticisms, love letters, hate letters, it doesn't matter. Or you got to send me something that's interesting, which I can check out. That would be great. Whatever you do, please send all your good stuff or correspondences with decorum. You can hit me at Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Freedom Networks, Tumblr, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LokiLuck3, which is number 3 is all together, at gmail.com. I'm not going to do any music, so I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. And I'd like to say to everyone, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demonic resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.